Shalom. I'm going to start first and foremost by giving all the praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Bashum, Yahushai, Bashim, Aruchakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and bishops of the great millstone that rule well. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the hopeful elect tabernacle of David scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. And I'm going to try not to be long-winded with this lesson, but I was just watching this video posted. This is IUIC captains, and they're going into secret sins in which, being in his flesh, you might sometime catch yourself, slipping. Sometimes we go off and don't even realize we're going off. And this is exactly why we needed the sacrifice that Yahushai became. We needed that grace, or, we would have been like unto Sodom and Gomorrah. We'd be done. All right. So, I was listening, and they was cooking for the most part, but they kind of lost me when they went to Sirach, the 23rd chapter, and the speaker, he was giving commentary on the scriptures as he was breaking it down, and they came across when it says all bread is sweet to a whoremonger. And you're going to hear it because I'm going to play it so y'all can listen. But he followed up by basically saying, when he broke it down, basically you're just sleeping with everything. Man is just sleeping with everybody. And if you're going to break down what whoremongering is, you got to really understand what it actually is and, what it mean to be an actual whoremonger. Because, if you are a captain and, you have this rank and you out there instructing and teaching, you got to know what you're teaching, man. And IUIC they got a lot of members, but a lot of them still don't even know certain basics of the scriptures. It just looks good to have numbers. But how well studied are your men? So I'm going to play it so y'all can hear it, and then I'm going to just, do my response. So bear with me.
In the light of thy countenance.
You can't hide the eyes of the Lord is 10,000 times brighter than the sun. So it says our secret sins in the light of his countenance. Let's get some understanding on that.
Yeah, that's true. The scriptures say if the Lord was to mark out all of our transgressions, who will be able to stand before him? This is why we needed Yahushai, man. And it's not to, make excuses, but we are in the flesh. We're in these corruptible bodies, man, that are subject to go off, these chains of darkness. So, that's one of the things that, we're earnestly expecting, that we're hoping for, is to be redeemed out of these this bondage of corruption. All right, hey, the Lord, he knows our most inner parts, man, our innermost thoughts. Even the thought of foolishness is sin. So we definitely desire to be changed. But anyway, let's he's getting ready to get into it.
And in the book of Sirach, watch this.
All bread is sweet to a whoremonger.
So a whoremonger, it says all bread. This brother laying down with any and everything. Come on, it says all bread. Watch this.
He will not leave off till he dies.
That spirit won't quit until it's put to death. Come on.
A man that breaketh.
So he interpreted that as saying a man that's basically sleeping around. Now, he'd have a point if he's talking about somebody like a gigolo, a man who sleeps around for money, like a male prostitute, or these adult film stars. All right, they get on camera and they start popping these women, and they get paid to do it. You know, you had these men who will go to these bachelorette parties and you know, put on a helicopter show for the women, and then they'll even, you know, the bride, she about to get married the following day, but she's having a bachelorette party, and you know, she might slide the dude a little extra so that he can take her into a private session and basically get it in with her, that's a common thing here in Babylon. It's very wicked. The woman becomes defiled the night before the freaking wedding, but she has the nerve to show up in an all white dress like she's pure. But that's an example. You know, dudes like that, he would be under that category. But really, when you know, break down the actual word and its etymology, it's really talking about a man who sells a woman, basically like a pimp. That's why it said in the verse, all bread is sweet to a whoremonger, because that's how he's getting his bread. He's consulting with a bunch of women, and a lot of that money is rolling in. And prostitution, that's the oldest profession out there. That's the most ancient profession. You know, so it was always a money-making thing. It was always a thing that women resort to for survival. And you always gonna have that, especially when bad times are you know, present. When you're falling on hard times, and you know, men, we got it a little different. Women, for them to survive under those type of times, they just resort to selling their body, especially if they don't have any support, if they don't have a household. You know, they're not under their father, they don't have a husband, whatever the case may be. It happens. But a whoremonger is basically a whore seller. All right, and let's go into that real quick. We go to the etymology and just type the word in, whoremonger. And IUIC, they got to stop being lazy when it comes to looking up their words. So it's broken up into two compound words. Whore, of course, we know what a whore is, and then you got monger. And then monger is what? From the Old English, mongere, merchant, trader, broker. All right? Agent now from mongian, to traffic, trade. Now you got men that's in the sex trafficking women. That's a whoremonger. All right, with them dudes down there in south of the border, you know, trafficking those women, they're whoremongering their women for money, for hire, for wages. And that's how they make their living. All right, pimping other women's bodies. That's why it says in the law not to prostitute your daughter, to cause her to be a whore. That's it in the law, Deuteronomy 23:17. All right. And you're also not supposed to cause her to be a whore. Like if she goes and worship another god, and she's dealing with a man of another nation and commemorating that idol, she's being a temple harlot. In which they was doing that during the time of the Greek Empire. All right, it was harlots in the temple, and that was they was worshiping was it Dionysus, Bacchus, you know, one of those deities. It says monger, higgler, from Latin mongo, genitive mongonis, dealer, trader, slave dealer, which is related to mongonium, displaying of wares. So that's basically what it means. And hey, you could be a whatever it is that you sell, okay? Like on the news, when they're pushing propaganda to scare people, they call it fear mongering, because you're basically selling the people fear. So that's basically the context of it. When you mongering something, that means you're selling. All right, you're trading. hoping to get something in return. Down here uses the example of a fishmonger or a cheesemonger. You sell fish, you sell cheese. So that's basically what it is. So you're not supposed to be a pimp. You're not supposed to sell your women. All right. And then when you go to the law, the priests, they were not allowed to bring in the hire of a harlot, because that's like you basically bringing in, you done pimped a woman to pay pay the Lord, well, not pay him, but you trying to give offering to the Lord, and you bring that to him. That's like bringing in blood money, or drug money. Is you didn't get it by way of a righteous means. Deuteronomy 23 and 18. And it says, thou shalt not bring the hire of a whore or the price of a dog into the house of the Lord thy power for any vow. For even both these are abomination unto the Lord thy power. All right. So, you're not going to bring the wages of a prostitute and put that in the collection, in the house of the Lord, man. Because it's not, it's not holy. So that's the true context of what a whoremonger is. You selling a whore, and you pretty much you sell her for hire so you can get paid. You getting wages. You give her little cut, and then you get your cut. And a female equivalent of that is a madam, a female that sells whores, like what was her name in that movie Harlem Nights? The character played by Della Reese. All right, she was a whoremonger. Okay. So let's get some scriptures. This is 1 Timothy 1, and I'm gonna start at 7. And I'll go to the NLT. Well, actually, no, I'll keep it KJV. It says, verse 7. It says, desiring to be teachers of the law, understanding neither what they say nor whereof they affirm. And that's a lot of dudes out there that think they know what they're talking about, and they don't. You got to really be thorough in these scriptures, man. It says, but we know that the law is good if a man use it lawfully, knowing this, that the law is not made for a righteous man, but for the lawless and disobedient, for the ungodly and for sinners, for unholy and profane, for murderers of fathers and murderers of mothers, for manslayers, for whoremongers, for them that defile themselves with mankind, moles, for men stealers, kidnappers, for liars, for perjured persons, and if there be any other thing that is contrary to sound doctrine. All right, and let's look up whoremonger. And the word is pornos. And it says a male prostitute. And it says from the Greek etymology, pernomy. And it says here, paprasko. In the definition, it says to traffic by traveling, i.e. dispose of merchandise or into slavery, literally or figuratively sell. All right. So that shows you right there. That's what it means. It means to sell. So when you monger something, you selling it. So if you selling prostitutes, you're whoremongering. That's what that means. All right. And men, they sell they self. Them male strippers and porn stars, that's what they do. It says, by analogy, a debauchee, libertine, fornicator, whoremonger. All right. And it's not the same as a man who sleeps, well, it could fall under the category of fornication because it's illicit. All right. But really, selling a woman is not really sleeping with the woman, but it's still sin. Now, if you sleeping with a married woman, that's fornication. That's adultery. You selling prostitutes, and making money off of her, that's whoremongering. So that's what we're not supposed to do. But if you happen to sleep with multiple women and they happen to be your woman, you're not fornicating, neither are you whoremongering. IUIC is teaching that. If you have more than one wife, they teach that that's fornication. And they also say that that's whoremongering. And that's not what whoremongering is. You're not selling your women to other men. Those are your wives. You're protecting them. You're providing for them. You're giving them your seed to have children. So that wouldn't be considered a whoremongering. If you go in and buy a prostitute, and because situations happen, these women, they sell their bodies during the times of hardship when they don't have any a father, they don't have a household. This is what they do for survival. It's one of the most ancient professions or occupations in the world. Women trying to survive, they fall upon hard times. That's what they end up doing. All right. And but if she has a pimp, he's being a whoremonger versus, her just being a whore. Because she's doing it for what? She's doing it for hire. She's doing it for money. And if you're saying that engaging with a prostitute would be considered whoremongering, then you're calling Hosea, you're saying that the Most High pretty much caused Prophet Hosea to be a whoremonger. You're saying that Gideon, he had a child with a prostitute, so that means that he was indulged in whoremongering. Or Judah with Tamar. So IUIC, they'll try to, be selective with it, but you gotta understand all across the board what the scriptures is talking about. All right. So understand that whoremongering it doesn't mean a man's just, sleeping with all kind of women. Now, is it irresponsible if he's doing that? Yeah, he's reckless, because ultimately, if you just sleeping with all kind of women, you're going to end up sleeping with the wrong woman. You're not vetting these women. You're not asking them if they're married, if they got men. You're going to come across the wrong one. It's the very scripture that they was reading in Sirach, the 23rd chapter. And yes, the Lord, his eyes are clearly watching you. I don't know why people to this day, they still think that they can just get away with this type of thing. Like it's just going to be hidden in the closet. The Lord sees everything. Sirach 23 and 16, it says, 2 sorts of men multiply sin, and the third will bring wrath. A hot mind is a burning fire. It will never be quenched till it be consumed. And we know that lust, it starts in the mind, and a man ain't tempted with evil, but he's only enticed by the lust that he has. And once that lust conceives, it brings forth sin, and the sin brings forth death. Because you just can't control yourself. You don't have temperance. He that strive for the master is temperate in all things. You got to learn how to abstain from pleasures that can become deadly. And there's certain men out there, they just can't control themselves, and they end up falling into something tragic behind some box. Because sometimes you'll end up, you laying a pipe down on all these women, but you're gonna end up running into the wrong one. You're gonna pipe down the wrong one, and that spirit of vengeance might get on somebody, and that be the last one you do. So that's what this is talking about. Basically, a man, he's gonna be so indulged, he just gonna be so far gone into that lust because it's just consuming him and burning him up that he's gonna end up finding out. He gonna find out. You're gonna find out today. That's what that's talking about. All right. It says a fornicator in his body of his flesh will never cease till he have kindled a fire. He just not gonna stop. All bread is sweet to a whoremonger. Talking about a pimp. He's making good bread. His women, they look good. So she constantly got a clientele, and he's getting paid. He's getting the bigger cut of the money, giving her the smaller cut. He will not leave off till he die. So, hey, that's the judgment, because if you doing that, you pimping out these women, then you're going to be destroyed. Hebrews 13:4, marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled, but whoremongers and adulterers the Most High will judge. Because it's wickedness, and we're not supposed to have that among us, all right? Revelation 21:8, but the fearful and unbelieving and abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. So that's pretty much that. I was just, I'm just listening. And when he broke that down that way, I was like, yeah, that's not, come on now. You got to actually break that down. All bread is sweet to a whoremonger, basically, because what do Jake say in the world when it comes to, getting to the bag? Another word for bag is what? My bread. Give me my bread. I'm making my bread. And the scriptures say the love of money is the root of all evil. So dudes, they'll find a lane because they got the gift of gab, and they'll go and prey on naive, vulnerable, low self-esteem women or desperate women. And they pretty much get in their ear and sell them a dream, and then go out there and actually sell their body. Yeah, I remember Hustle and Flow. So, yeah, that's wicked, and you got the pulpit pimps. They do a similar job, but they also are adulterous too. So not only are they selling you lies and taking your money, but they also are popping all type of women, and a lot of those women be married. They got husbands. So there's a lot of pimping and adultery in them damn churches. And the Lord's going to deal with every last one of them. So, that's pretty much that, man. I'm not going to be long-winded, but I just have to do a response, and hopefully y'all were edified. We give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shai. And until the next one, Shalom.